Hi, I'm Patty Dreier, and welcome to Portage County Matters. This is a monthly show that highlights what's happening in Portage County, Wisconsin today. So when we take a look at what's going on these days, I think one of the biggest things of all is that, I was sworn into office 11 months ago today, and in that time, Portage County's been making some great progress on a number of different things. We have been working to improve communications across and within county government units, and so that's a really important piece of the puzzle. In addition, I've worked to reduce the size of the tax levy by 5% so that we're still maintaining services, but we were already preparing for the state budget challenges that we knew were on their way. There are a lot of different folks that give us a call at the county executive's office, and I just want to put that information out first and foremost here. We welcome your calls, and my executive assistant, Jamie Gabert, is standing by to assist me in researching the answers to questions that citizens might have, and also coordinating various administrative projects for us. And so this executive hub then is a hub for 33 departments in your county government. So whether you've got questions about how the airport works in the Central Wisconsin Airport, all the way to questions about solid waste, we're the place that you can get some answers. Let's transition to a talk about strategic planning. You've probably heard some things about strategic planning initiatives that are being kicked off here in Portage County. There's currently no strategic plan that guides all of the county departments in relation to each other, sort of a broad county plan. And so I've launched a strategic planning process earlier this year in collaboration with Phil Eidsvog, the chair of our County Board of Supervisors. And I'm really excited about the fact that every department's already involved in strategic planning with their legislative oversight committee. Those are county board supervisors and citizens on committees that help to guide the process. Basically what we're doing is we're identifying strategic budget priorities, and also I think it'll end up that we'll have some other infrastructure and other decisions made related to policies that guide our financial future in Portage County that come out of all of this. So we'll see how that goes, but between now and May, I'm sure you're going to hear more from the departments if you attend any county meetings. In addition to that, though, probably after this budget cycle, what we'll end up doing is drilling down more into details. You know as well as I that strategic planning can take months and months and years of time sometimes in complex organizations, but we're going with what I call the 10,000-foot view, and what that'll mean is it will allow us to have some strategic and broad directions to guide us, and then we'll continue to refine that plan over the years to come. I'd like to say a couple of things about the state's budget, Governor Walker's budget. The budget itself, the proposed budget, is something like 1,300 pages long, and so it takes us some time to get through analyzing all of the different elements of the budget, asking for clarification from various state officials, and coming to terms with what does it really mean at the local level. What I can tell you right now is, from the moment that budget came out, to now and for weeks and weeks ahead, we are continuing to delve into the research and to learn more, to ask those questions. I can also tell you that there's a minimum so far in our analysis of $2 million of reduction in shared revenues and state aids to Portage County. So that will mean some significant changes for you, for all of us, starting later this year and for the years to come. And we know that the state budget challenge is one that we have to participate in solving. Employees here in Portage County are stepping up and continue to be dedicated to refining our mission, to continuing to offer core services and stretch every limit of every resource we've got. I know that there's more that we can do, but I also know that these are going to be some times of significant change, and we're ready for it. I know that there's going to be a lot of work to happen in the weeks and months ahead. We're already beginning to get into revising the 2011 budget, this year's budget, even though it was only a few months ago that we passed that budget here in Portage County. But I didn't think that it would be very responsible of us to go through this year as if nothing had changed, when in fact many things are changing very quickly here in our state and in the nation, as a matter of fact. And so putting that all together and seeing what we might do differently, knowing now that we have more information than we did a few months ago, I think is a wise and prudent set of steps to take. So that's what's happening. I will tell you also that I'm most concerned, if we want to look at where the changes will hit us most deeply here in Portage County, I am most concerned that our disabled, our elderly, and most vulnerable families, those who are already living in poverty, or the working poor families in our community, will have the toughest times, the toughest hits that come through this budget. And so we're going to be having to work very creatively across sectors, public and private sectors alike, to find some extra supports, to develop some extra supports for folks that will have to meet their basic needs here in this scenario with the changes in eligibility to various programs and so on and so forth. So I've already been calling on a number of organizations to step up and to begin preparing, including the Hunger and Poverty Prevention Partnership. So look for more information about that for sure. From last spring when I came into office, I launched a study of our solid waste department, and the department wasn't functioning very well. It was in financial trouble, and it's supposed to operate more like a business. And so we wanted to get the solid waste department back on solid footing again. And again, no pun intended there. But I dismissed the director of that department, and then we hired a solid waste analyst who's been working with us, and we took over the administrative functions of that department in the county executive's office. We're now much more literate in the changes in the markets and in the times related to solid waste, and we're making some good progress. We've got a work group of municipal leaders that have been meeting with staff, Portage County staff, to develop some staffing designs to guide the future of this department. And so very shortly they'll be providing their recommendations to the Solid Waste Board for action. There are a multitude of changes coming down from the state's budget on recycling implications, I guess, and then also on some other challenges of these times. So I'm sure that it will be months yet before we're going to have all of the problems resolved. But in the meantime, I think one of the greatest things that we have going on for us here in Portage County related to solid waste is the fact that we have a partnership of 20 municipalities that are joined together to gain efficiencies and control costs of waste disposal. Now, we have 27 municipalities in Portage County, so not every municipality is involved in our partnership. But the bottom line in this is that we have a common contract and approach for waste collection, and it helps us keep our tipping fees low. So I want to give you a couple of examples. One of them is that we pay $30 a ton today for disposing of our waste at the Cranberry Creek landfill in Wood County. And by comparison, Wisconsin Rapids, where Cranberry Creek landfill is located, pays over $48 a ton. $18 a ton more than we do. But our total cost for all of our 20 municipalities that are involved in our partnership to use our transfer station for waste, to recycle materials through our recycling facility, the material recovery facility, and other program supports that we offer, pay $50.45 a ton. So really just a couple dollars more, and we're having a whole array of services that allow us to do the right thing with our waste in Portage County. We're inviting other municipalities to join us, so the invitation's there, and we hope that more will, because really there's strength in numbers in solid waste management and in solid waste business. And so this is our way that we leverage our combined strength in numbers and waste tonnage to keep the costs low. So I think that's one of the great stories of Portage County that I wanted to share with you today. A couple more other quick updates and we'll get on to our guest today. About Whiting Mill, the Whiting Mill closure in the village of Whiting. Last December, we've had a team of elected officials, local, state, and federal officials, along with economic development leaders and others who have met bi-weekly until just recently to discuss the closure, the impacts on our local community, our economy, and also the challenges for the village of Whiting. Now about 360 workers have been displaced, and about a third of them are looking for work. A third of them are going back to school, and about a third of them have been seriously considering retirement. Right now we have a transition center that's open at 1820 Post Road in Plover. It's near the Bullseye Credit Union, and it's on that same side of the road. They're open 2 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays for walk-ins, so any Whiting Mill displaced worker can go there and have a way to get connected to job opportunities and educational opportunities, or just to stay connected to the community that was at the Whiting Mill before it closed. So it's a great opportunity for folks to get some help. There's also a Central Wisconsin Job Fair that we have planned for Wednesday, April 27th, 10 to 2. At the Mid-State Technical College in Wisconsin Rapids, and this is a career fair for Whiting Mill workers, in addition to others that want to find out more about job or educational opportunities. I'm really excited about this event taking place, and it's really risen from the urgent need, especially with the new Page Mill closing in Whiting. Yesterday, March 23rd, I met with, it's a different subject but related to the Whiting Mill closure, has to do with the Village of Whiting financial straits that this mill closure has caused the village. So on yesterday, March 23rd, I met with the Governor's Chief of Staff and a policy advisor down at the Capitol with Village President Jerry Walters from Whiting, and we were asking for the state's help on a couple of exceptional policy changes, policy opportunities that could help the village get a hand up out of this, this financial emergency for the village. And basically we're standing by for some information back from the governor's policy advisor to see if we're able to get any state assistance. Basically, the Whiting Mill closure affects 1/5 of the village's budget, very, very small budget, and 1/5 of the budget is hit as a result of that closing. So it's an extraordinary situation, and I'm grateful that we had an opportunity to talk with the governor's staff about that yesterday. Two other things that are some events happening in the community, and then we'll get on to our guest today. The Central Wisconsin Resiliency Project, which is our local AmeriCorps project, is having an open house at Jackson School on April 10th from 1 to 5 p.m. And this is a program that's focused on building capacities in the world of local foods and energy conservation and environmental protection. So I hope to see you there at the open house on April 10th. And finally, many of you know that I've been holding listening sessions around Portage County. Each quarter I get to every corner of the county for times to talk with citizens about issues, questions they may have, gathering some input or inviting them to just voice their concerns so that I can get some follow-ups back to them. Each quarter I've been getting out to each quadrant, and this time the next session happens to be in the town of Carson on April 12th from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the town hall. So I'll look forward to seeing anybody there at the town of Carson. You don't have to be just a resident of that township in order to attend. I was just recently in the town of Belmont and in the town of Plover for other listening sessions this quarter. So I'll look forward to seeing you at the town of Carson at 6 o'clock. And now, I just want to just express my gratitude for the opportunity to share the first Portage County Matters show with Sandra Curtis, our Director of Emergency Management in Portage County. Sandy, hi. Thanks for your patience in helping me get through those updates.
Wow, that's quite a job you have there, Patty.
Yeah, just think you get to share it with me too,
yes,
right?
And thank you for this opportunity.
So you've worked for Portage County for quite a number of years, and you've got a small staff, and I want you to give us just a little bit of a view on what's it look like. Where do I find the Emergency Management Office in Portage County?
Okay, first of all, Portage County Emergency Management is located within the Law Enforcement Center, 1500 Strongs Avenue, and we're a small office. We're located right as you walk in the main door. Our staff consists of myself as the director, a program assistant, who both of us each work 38 hours per week, and then we have an EMS coordinator, which is related to one of the functions within our office.
So you're located right across from the courthouse, so it makes
Correct.
it easy to find.
Yes.
Yeah, now, let's talk about the mission of emergency management. I know I've worked with you quite a number of hours over the last 11 months as we've been working on a number of different things. But let's talk a little bit about what do you do? What does it mean here? How does emergency management matter to people in Portage County?
Well, first of all, emergency management is not a position that is an at-will type department. It is mandated by the state of Wisconsin. Chapter 323 requires each county in the state of Wisconsin to have an emergency management director. The duties and job responsibilities of that position can vary from county to county, but each county is required to have a program of emergency management. Here in Portage County, the basic functions in my office, the first and most important part is the emergency management part. That's the part of my job where I do all hazard planning for the county. We develop communication systems, damage assessment systems, and everything that it would have to do with any type of hazard, man-made hazard or a natural disaster type hazard. The second function within our office is also required by the federal government, and that's the Emergency Planning Community Right to Know, or EPCRA, is the...
I always love the acronyms in government.
Yeah, exactly, and there are millions of them
Yeah.
in emergency management. We have an entire section in our plan that's addressing the acronyms. But the EPCRA, or Emergency Planning Community Right to Know, I work with all of the facilities in the county that use, store, or manufacture hazardous materials. We develop a plan for those facilities in the event that a spill from the facility would happen to occur either in their facility or outside the facility. And that we, again, prepare the community on how to deal with that. We have a system in place. We have a hazmat team. We have the fire departments that are trained to a certain level that they can respond to these spills. So there's a lot of responsibility within that, but again, it's required by the federal government, and also it is supported in the way of a grant.
And just before you get to number 3, right, of your 3-part
Yes.
mission, I remember when I attended the meeting, it was news to me that I mean, here we had people from the university, for example, like in the chemistry labs, and then we were talking about chemistry labs at the schools, making sure that we had a hazmat approach.
Absolutely.
To, yeah, in the event that there was a spill or some other kind of...
Well, that's an interesting part that you bring up, because part of this law requires us to have this diverse group on the local emergency planning committee, and part of that group is elected officials. Then there are the emergency responders. Media is a required component of that, and then the facilities that actually use or store the chemicals are that they have a position on that committee, and then community groups like the American Red Cross and Salvation Army, they also have input into that community. So it's a broad spectrum of people from different backgrounds that make up this committee that review plans and look at the safety aspects of these hazardous materials.
I got to say, it was just enlightening to learn that really emergency management, while one might think of ambulances and things like that, and again, we'll let you get to your point number 3 here, but the fact that you were so involved with so many community organizations, I think, is something that I didn't know was part of the world of emergency management in Portage County before.
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. The third mission, and actually there are 4.
Oh, 4.
The third mission of our office is the 911. We maintain the internal and external database for the 911 system. We maintain the thoroughfare listing, or master street address is that we use for the 911 system. We also play a large part in the cellular communications and how they reach our 911 dispatch center. We work with every town and village to maintain addresses so that they're in the correct address range, and things like that, so that the database for 911 is maintained. The 4th function is I coordinate the ambulance service between the county and the city. I maintain and monitor the contract between the county and the city for ambulance services, and that includes everything from first responders to the actual ambulances.
Wow, and the other thing that I've learned in my time here in this office is that you've got some really strong protocols related to quality control for and monitoring quality of our emergency response services. So that I was really impressed with that.
Well, again, you know, the emergency medical services, it's a team of people, and it's a system that we've developed. We have medical direction, we have the EMS coordinator, that's where he comes in, and he looks at case review to make sure that our paramedics are performing, you know, the appropriate procedures for the appropriate medical conditions. So it's a system.
So at this time of year, now of course we had some opportunity to work in during the flood last fall. Oh, we spent way too much time together, I am sure. But anyway, what about this time of year? There are certain programs and certain topics that have to be on the front burner in emergency management. Maybe you can touch on a few of those and what folks in Portage County should be thinking about from an emergency prep standpoint.
Very good. Well, last week was flood awareness, and obviously we're not quite there in central Wisconsin because we haven't had a speedy melt of the snow, and now we have additional snow to deal with. But last week was Flood Preparedness Week, and this is where we encourage people. There's a public education campaign to encourage people to build a kit, become informed, have a plan on how you might deal with in the event that there is a flood, and then learn how to protect your property. And some of the tips that we have is make a plan. It's very possible that in the event of a flood, families will be separated. It may occur when the children are at school and the buses can't get the kids home in the evening. So families should have a plan how they can reconnect in the event that they are separated by a flood. The other thing is make a kit or get a kit, and I actually brought an example of a kit that I encourage people to do, and this is a great time of the year. It isn't just about flooding, it'll be about the other natural hazard that we should be concerned with. But anyway, what a family's emergency kit could look like is something like this, and this is just a small example of the items that could be used. Number one, you need to have a method to communicate. So having an AM/FM radio available so that you know what's happening once you go to your shelter location. And that maintaining communication is very important. A second item is, and this is the most important thing to sustain life, is water. You should have a supply of water available. Check that supply of water every 6 months to make sure it's current, or change it if you're not using pre-bottled water. But they recommend 1 gallon per person per day, and my recommendation is that people should be prepared to take care of themselves for at least a 3-day period of time. Some other things you might want to have in your kit. 3 days. So flashlight in case the power's out. And these are in no particular order. But people should have a supply of non-perishable food available. And I have a can opener in here too, so that not only do you have to have the canned food, you have to have access to the food. If your power's out or whatever. Exactly. Some recommendations are you should have a dust mask for each person, in the event it's a hazardous material spill, because this kit is for all hazards. Again, that's the approach we use in emergency management, is to be ready for all hazards. So a dust mask is appropriate. If you have babies or children, you should have a supply of diapers available, a supply of formula. Also, kids get antsy if they have to be in a sheltered location for a period of time. So I have like games or activities for kids to do during the disaster, or when you have to be in a shelter location. A first aid kit is a recommended item to have available in case anyone is injured during that period of time. They recommend that you have a map of your area, the county area, so that if you're told to not only shelter in place, if you're told to evacuate, you know which exit routes to use on the highway. Sanitation supplies, a garbage bag, hand sanitizer, wipes, toilet tissue, things that you know you're going to need in that situation. Other things that are recommended, prescription glasses. If you have an extra pair, throw it in the kit. You don't know if you're going to lose them or break them. This isn't prescription medication, but this I thought would give you the idea. Medications that you use on a regular basis, if you can have a small supply in your kit, or remember to grab them when you need to go. But that's one of the biggest hazards, is people not having their prescription medication, something they need to take today, and you can't get to those medications. And a list of your medications should be in here. Extra cash is always handy if you have to evacuate, an extra credit card if you have it available. You know, other things that you might need for your particular family in case you have specific family needs. So that's just an idea. And if you want more information on building a kit, you can go to the Portage County website, go to emergency management, and we have lots of written resources available. Ready Wisconsin is a good one, or wisconsin.gov. You can get lots of good information. Also, if you have a pet, you should have pet food and water for the pet, and some people even have like an emergency safety kit for the pet.
I remember with the flood, we talked about the 3 Ps, right?
Yes.
Pills, pets, and your purse.
Personal or personal belongings, personal documents, things that you may need in the event that you had to evacuate.
Now, besides flooding, what else should we be thinking about at this time of year?
Well, the other thing is the week of April 11th is Tornado Awareness Week. And again, there's going to be a public education campaign to teach people or to remind people to be prepared. Again, have a plan. If your family is separated during this period of time, have a kit, just like the one that I have shown here. Plus, there are other things, blankets, clothing, things that should be added to the kit that you would have available in your home. Communication systems will be tested during that period of time, during Tornado Awareness Week. The sirens will be activated. But this is just to remind people that we're heading toward the storm season. I think the other night we had a good reminder. We actually had a thunder snow, but there was thunder and lightning. There were fires. I know Portage County didn't have any, but I know Marathon County, 2 homes started on fire. Obviously, those people had to evacuate. But
my husband was telling me he was walking the dog and there was the lightning. He was like, whoa.
So we could have severe summer weather where you would have to take shelter in your home, and it might be for a period of 1 hour, or it might be even longer than that. So being prepared for those types of things during Tornado Awareness Week.
Talk about Code Red for a minute. You know, I've heard a lot about Code Red. We've got only a few minutes to wrap up the show here. Tell me about what does it do, and how can I get signed up, and why? Why would it be important?
Code Red is an emergency notification system. The system is capable of making 60,000 phone calls per hour, if necessary. It can be used in 2 ways. One, our county dispatch and city dispatch can send calls out or messages about either a natural hazard or boil water advisory, an evacuation notice, etc. But also the other part of Code Red that people can sign up for is the weather component, where the system will automatically make a call notifying the citizen of either a flash flood warning, a severe thunderstorm warning, or a tornado warning. So under those 3 events, people can sign up by going to the county website, and there's Code Red logo right on our opening page.
And we'll have the county website address right here at the end of the show, so that should make it pretty easy for folks to get tuned in. So there's also a safety fair coming up. It's in May, I think, right?
Absolutely. Portage County is again hosting a safety fair, Celebrate Safety with Mark Motors, and that's scheduled for May 21st, which is a Saturday from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. At that time, we will be dedicating the new rapid response vehicle that has been donated by Mark Motors on a free lease agreement. But this is to celebrate Portage County and safety, and we're going to try to focus on spring and summer safety, children's safety.
I've been part of that. It's always been a wonderful event.
It'll be fun, a fun event.
Well, we get to wrap up right now, and I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. The first few minutes of of this broadcast on Portage County Matters are going to be on a podcast form at the county website so that folks will be able to catch those updates again, or if you can't tune into the cable access channel, you'll be able to get that update on a monthly basis just by clicking onto the website and opening up the video right on the website. Sandy, I want to thank you so much for being here, being the first guest with Portage County Matters, and thank you. What you really do for all of us to keep us safe, to keep our families safe really does matter. To me, I know it does, to many others as well. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.